What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Cage again, and I'm here to bring you a review of the iPad Pro 9.7 inch. Now, people are saying that this is that thing if you really want to get into, a little bit of modified music production, graphic design. They're putting that Pro moniker on it, trying to compete with the likes of the Surface Pro. So, do they have enough to stack up? We're going to get into it right now. The iPad Pro 9.7 is Apple's latest and greatest offering. It's also a smaller and slightly more manageable alternative to that big-ass 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Everybody should be able to find a color that they can get down with this time around, because in addition to the silver, gold, and space gray finishes that they've offered in the past, they've also decided to add in a little bit of rose gold. So if you want to be fancy, this one's for you. Now, in terms of design, on everything, I do not understand why they didn't decide to just call this the Air 3. I think that the Pro moniker might just be a marketing stunt to be real, but I'm just here to review the stuff. That's on Apple. I'll ask them. Now, keeping the same dimensions and design cues from its little brother, the iPad Pro measures up at 9.4 by 6.6 inches and manages to stay just under 1/4 of an inch thick. Now, I should probably mention at this point that it does come in at just under a pound, but for the life of me, I do not understand why anybody cares about just a couple of grams. Y'all might be able to tell me if you know why they keep pushing this. Let me know in the comment section, because I would really like to know, because all of these devices are super thin. All of these devices are super light. Just, get on to the more important stuff, you know what I mean? So keeping it moving. A quick look around the sides of the device reveal a couple of changes from previous iterations. The usual suspects are in attendance here. Power button, volume rockers, headphone jack, and lightning connector are all here. Also, in the cellular models of the device, you'll find a nano SIM tray with an Apple SIM card pre-installed. One addition that can be found along the left side of the device is a smart connector that can be used to attach accessories like keyboards and charging docks. But I would have to say that the biggest change, in my opinion, as far as the outside of the device is concerned, would have to be the second set of speakers located along the top edge of the device. I'll get into more detail about that later on in the video, but I have to tell you that is so dope. Real talk. But now the front face, as per usual, is solely occupied by the home button, but it's also used as a biometric scanner to be able to, press your finger to it and it'll let you into your device. Apple's calling it their Touch ID, and it works really well. Works super quick. If anybody was to look at you unlock your device, honestly, just use your index finger to press the button and it will turn on the device and let you in at the exact same time. So, hey, good call on them for that one. They did a good job. In terms of storage, the iPad Pro actually comes in 3 different flavors this time around. 32 gig, 128 gig, and 256 gigabyte models are available, so that no matter what you might actually be doing with it, you should find a model out there that has enough storage for you. The battery here is going to be a 27.5 lithium polymer battery that boasts 10 hours or so of battery usage on a single charge. Now, in my experience with it, I gotta say they're actually pretty much spot on. I get somewhere between 8 and 11 hours depending on what I'm actually doing with my device. So obviously I'm gonna get more time if I'm just Facebooking it up. I'm gonna get less time if I'm making a beat or watching a video or something that's gonna be using the screen a whole lot. Now, running the whole show here is Apple's A9X chip with embedded M9 coprocessor. It also sports 2 gigabytes of RAM. Now, I've run a couple of benchmark tests, and if you don't know what a benchmark test is, it's basically going to be a test that measures hardware performance, and it provides a solid number so that you can provide comparison among multiple devices. Okay, so Antutu benchmark gave the iPad Pro a pretty impressive score in the 172K range, and the 3D Mark's Slingshot, the 3D Mark Slingshot benchmark awarded an equally good 2700. That means plenty of horsepower for whatever you want to do, whether that's music production, video production, gaming. You should be good. It has plenty enough power for you. It also places the iPad Pro at the top of mobile devices out at the moment. Now, getting to the screen, you have a True Tone Retina display with a resolution of 2048 by 1536 at 264 pixels per inch. That is a high-ass pixel density. It's also the exact same pixel density that you'll find in that larger, big-ass 12.9 iPad Pro. The whole True Tone part of that description is basically a technology that uses ambient light to adjust the whole white balance of the screen, making whites more accurate depending on what conditions you're in. It does work in practice. It doesn't necessarily make whites whiter, but I would say it's gonna be closer to if you're reading an actual book and you change rooms and there's different lighting conditions there. The white will kind of change in response to it. It kind of emulates that a little bit. It works pretty well. Though once it gets dark outside, I would still turn on nighttime mode, which is gonna make everything a little bit warmer and make everything a little bit easier on your eyes. Honestly, for that exact same purpose, I use these glasses when I'm on the computer normally. It does work out. I'm glad that Apple actually took that in consideration. Now, time to move on to sound, my favorite part. Before I mention the two new speakers being placed at the top of the device, and simply put, they are super dope, and I have no idea why they didn't think about this sooner. The four speakers provide super rich sound and a more pronounced low end than you would normally expect from a mobile device. Now, the coolest part of this whole array is the fact that it'll automatically adjust depending on which way you actually have the device turned. That means that anything hard pan left or right will actually be left or right, no matter which way you actually have it turned. Now, there's obviously a stronger stereo effect when you have the thing turned in landscape mode, but just keep that in mind. Now, I do have my iPad right here. Okay, let me unlock this real quick just so you can kind of hear what these sound like. Now, it's going to be recreated over the microphone, but you can kind of get the point. Let's see, turn this up a little bit. Got the homie Slick with it. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, so yeah, that definitely works. Sounds really good, gets super loud. And by the way, you know what I'm saying, check out my homeboy Slick with it 904 on SoundCloud. Yeah, homie, I shouted you out, so what's up? Anyway, the A9X processor keeps things super snappy in music production. Apps themselves allowing multi-track recording with multiple bus apps with absolutely no slowdown. So hey, you can actually start to use this as a real mobile production unit. You could do it before, but you were limited on how many different plugins you could have going on at one time, how many instruments you could have going on one time as far as multi-tracking, how many tracks you could have at one time. Now, also, latency delay is kept to a minimum, so it does allow for a really responsive experience when you are making apps in real time using apps like iMachine or BeatHawks, stuff like that. Okay. Now, for those of you out there like me, who use Ableton as your DAW of choice, and also for those of you out there that like to rock out loud with your friends in the living room, all of y'all got iPads and you just want to sync together and yo, we're fucking electronic band now, it's awesome. Ableton Link is gonna be your thing. See, Link enables wireless MIDI sync with Live and other iPads that are also running compatible applications. Now, it's not exactly exclusive to the iPad Pro per se, but since you have all of the extra power, you might as well actually be able to use it like a real instrument. Just saying. So hell yeah, let's talk about cameras on tablets. Nah, but for real though, let me start by saying that I've always been confused as to why this has ever been a necessity. Personally, I would much rather use my cell phone to take a picture than carry around my big ass tablet, but I gotta say, I was actually kind of surprised with the implementation that was done here by Apple. The front camera houses a 5 megapixel shooter capable of 720p shooting for all of your Snapchat needs, so you can record looking all clean and stuff, not super pixelated. It also has what the company's calling a retina flash, which basically turns the whole screen into a big ass flash. So no matter what kind of lighting situation you're in, you can always get them selfies looking right, okay? The rear of the tablet houses a 12 megapixel iSight camera with True Tone flash. Now, before I continue, I feel the need to say the True Tone flash, if you look at the back of the actual flash itself, you have two different tints of the actual flash. So it's supposed to give better color representation. So that's the reason why that's so significant. It's also capable of 4K recording at 30 frames per second and 1080p recording at 60 frames per second. Now, colors in the still shots are super vibrant, and the low light shots are actually pretty good too. Speaking on low light, the addition of a flash was a good move on Apple's part. I have personally never seen a flash on a tablet before, but they decided to add it, and it works really, really well. The flash is plenty bright, and it's more than capable of capturing good photos once the sun goes down. Now, video is smooth and clear and recreates colors really, really well, making crazy natural looking video, at least for a tablet. So, for final thoughts on the actual iPad Pro, gotta say, I do like it. I really, really do. The hardware is solid, super, super solid, but I have to say that the camera lens on the actual device itself, I don't know if you can actually see that, sticks out just a little bit from the device itself. So you would probably do good to grab a case that will have a lip on there for you that will keep you from actually scratching that up, because it is a really good camera. It would be a super shame if you ended up scratching it up and just fucking the whole thing up. Also, shout out to Spec for making a really, really nice case. Also, I must apologize. I don't have any of the actual accessories to review. The ones that I'm talking about in particular are the Apple Pencil and the Smart Cover. I don't use an Apple Pencil. I don't really do a lot of drawing. And for what my needs are, I actually use the Pencil by 53. So I can do a review on that if y'all would like to, but it just hasn't ever come up. Okay. Also, the operating system. This is going to be the thing that probably affects my review more than anything else. Like I said, I do like the hardware itself, but I don't get the reason why they give that Pro moniker to it when they won't put a full version of OS X on it. Yes, that is correct. This runs iOS 9, so it runs the exact same operating system as your phone, as all of the other versions of the iPad, but it's supposed to be a Pro unit. If you're gonna call it Pro, I would assume that you're trying to compete directly with the Surface Pro line, especially adding the whole pencil and everything like that. But the difference is, I can load full Ableton onto a Surface Pro tablet. I would love to be able to load full Logic onto my actual iPad, but I can't. I end up using Cubase instead, but it feels like it was a wasted opportunity. I really feel like they should have been able to put the full version of OS X on there and actually made this a true crossover device, but they decided to play it safe, and it's gonna kind of bite them in the ass as far as my review is concerned. Now, I did mention a couple of apps earlier. I will get into more in-depth reviews of those later. Those will probably be coming up in later on weeks, but for this one, let's go ahead and conclude it. I have to give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, the whole implementation of the operating system and putting the iOS 9 as opposed to OS X on it kind of messed it up a little bit for me. I didn't really see what the necessity was in changing the name of it if they weren't actually going to do anything about it. Also, their accessories, while I don't have them, the main reason why I don't is because there are cheaper options out there. I do recognize that the Apple Pencil is supposed to be better than the one that I currently use by 53, but it's also like $50 more. So their accessories need to come down a little bit, and maybe I might actually get around to reviewing those. But beyond that, my main thing that I'm using to make my judgment off of is going to be the choice to go with the mobile operating system as opposed to a full desktop operating system. And that's the end of my review. So, hey, you guys have a good one. I hope that you enjoyed it today, and stay cool. Hey, thank y'all for watching my video today, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the review. If you don't like anything, or if you do like something, leave me a comment. Also, let me know if there's anything else that you would like for me to review. But if you did like it, like, share, subscribe. Send this out to everybody. Everybody needs to see this stuff. I make good shit.